You might be asking yourself where you get music for your podcast, and of course, you can get music pretty much anywhere, but there are specific places where I get music for my own podcast and the podcasts that I produce. Today, I want to share with you two places, one that's free and one that is paid. Both can be equally helpful for you when you're choosing podcast music, and I will show you the process of picking music because, believe it or not, there is a process to picking your podcast music. That's all coming up next. Hey there, podcaster. My name is the Shannon, radio broadcaster, podcaster, and podcast producer. And today's video is brought to you by the 6 Clever Ways to Monetize a Podcast, my brand new ebook on monetizing a podcast. I'm going to leave a link for that in the description down below if you're watching this on YouTube. And of course, up here in the title card right here on YouTube, all you have to do is tap on them. And of course, before you tap on that, make sure that you are checking the description for any coupon codes when you get the book, because that will give you a certain percentage off on the book, and depending on the deal that I have going for the book. But this book is 100 pages of all the tips that I can think of when it comes to monetizing a podcast, so that you can encompass all parts of what you love to do to monetize your podcast. So make sure you check it out. The 6 Clever Ways to Monetize a Podcast, available right now on my website, theshanman.com. So today we're talking all about how to pick a podcast music for your podcast. Now, you might be a seasoned podcaster and you already get your music from a certain place, or maybe you're a brand new podcaster and you just don't know where to start. And I will tell you this right now. There's a ton of places where you can get music for your podcast. And of course, the music that you're going to be looking for, it has to be royalty free, all right? Make sure that it is not copyrighted at all. Otherwise, you could get a cease and desist from a certain label or music company. And of course, if you need more details on that, I've got a video up here that you can go ahead and check out that talks all about copyrighted music. But what you want to do is, when it comes down to picking podcast music for your own podcast, is you want to get royalty free music. So the two places that I go to get my music for my podcasts are YouTube Studio Creator and Audio Jungle. You're free to use just about anything that you want to use. I don't mind that. So make sure that it's something that is royalty free. And of course, you can pay if you want. Sometimes they're free. It's just going to be really up to you. So first, let's talk all about YouTube and where you can get free music for your podcast. Let's say you need a title or an opening piece of music for your podcast, or maybe you've created a segment for your podcast and you need different music to set a different style of mood, or maybe you need sound effects. You can certainly find these details and types of music inside of YouTube. Now, before I tell you that to use YouTube music and sound effects, just know this, all right? The quality that you're getting on YouTube is going to be just okay. It's not really up to my standard, but you can be the judge for yourself. It's going to be really up to you. The standard is okay. It's just not going to be the best. Sometimes you can find gems in there. Other times you're going to find a lot of duds, all right? So just kind of understand that's what you're getting yourself into if you're looking for free music, all right? So how do we get to that free music? So what you want to do is you want to jump on over and you make sure that you are logged into your YouTube account, and you want to come on up here to the right-hand side where your avatar is. You click on it and go down to YouTube Studio Beta. Once you go to YouTube Studio Beta, it's going to take you into your back end of your Studio Creator area, and on this left-hand dashboard right here, you're going to come down to Other Features, and you're going to see this flyout window, and it's going to show you Audio Library. Once I click on this, it's going to open up a brand new window. Once this window is open, you're going to be shown all, basically the library of songs that YouTube has available for free that you can download. Now, something that you need to be aware of when it comes down to using the music from YouTube is that some of it requires Creative Commons attribution. So in other words, what that means is that you have to give credit to the creator in your video for YouTube, or maybe even in your podcast every single time. So make sure you're giving credit, and there are certain links that you would have to provide for those creators. So make sure that you are doing that. Otherwise, you could find yourself in some type of legal trouble, I'm sure. But if you need full details, I would like for you to scroll down, and you can see here there's a Learn More button. We'll just go ahead and open this in a new window. And you'll see there, it'll take you here. It'll say, get music from the audio library, and there's some instructions, and you can get some details on the free music attribution and monetization. So if you're monetizing your podcast, make sure that you're giving attribution for it, okay? Because this is something that is going to be very, very important, all right? Also, you can see the terms and conditions. If you click on the terms and conditions, it tells you how you can use your music. It can be for videos or your any project that you're really using. So just be careful of what you're using, all right? Now, when you come into the library, you can see that there's all different types of songs, and you can see over here on the right hand side there's different genres or styles. You can see right here who it's made by. You can see whether it's a new track or not. And then, of course, you can sort your music in a different way. So let's go with attribution. You don't want any attribution required. You just want the music to be free, and you're free to use it for monetization. You come over here and you click on a song, and you see it says you're free to use this song for monetization. All right. Now, if there was attribution only, you want attribution required, there's going to be songs that are required, and you're going to click on one, and you're going to see here it says you're free to use this song and monetize your video, but you must include the following in your video description. And you would have to copy and paste all of this into your podcast show notes or your video for your YouTube video. Okay. So that's just something that you need to be aware of. Right here, you can see that it does have Creative Commons attribution. And of course, here you can download. Now, just as if you're someone who's beginning and you're starting your podcast and you're looking for music, I will tell you this: looking for music is going to be the longest part of the process, because you're going to want to find the right style of music, and you're going to go through all kinds of music in order to pick the right one for your podcast. All right. So before you go into your launch strategy, before you go into any of that, make sure that you're looking for your music first. I outlined this in my podcast to do checklist that you can go ahead and grab on my website. There is a link for that down in the description below if you need the steps on how to start your podcast from a launch, okay, or how to launch your podcast. But make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to look for the music, all right? So here you can download, put a folder on your computer and save it there, okay? And then, of course, you can go back and find the best 5, look for the best 5, and that'll be it. Looking for music can take anywhere between an hour, maybe it takes 2 hours to 3 hours. Just give yourself plenty of time, all right? Now, if you wanted to look for sound effects, there's also the same thing. You can look for sound effects here, and you can download them directly to your computer if you want. And of course, you can search the sound effects as well. Okay. Now let's jump into Audio Jungle, and the reason why I use Audio Jungle to choose for pretty much most of the music and sound effects for my podcast is because they use terms that are very familiar to me because of me working in radio, and I'll share that with you either in this video or the next video that I will show you some quick hacks. But when you come into audiojungle.net, you can come in and look at all your music, and the beauty behind Audio Jungle is that you don't have to purchase the music right away. You can download previews, all right? So let's come in and we're going to go ahead and let's look up right here, dubstep music. We're going to look up dubstep music. And what you're going to notice when you look up dubstep music is that a lot of the songs are going to be, it seems kind of expensive for one song. Like a CD costs these days like what, $8, and these songs right here are costing like, just one song is costing you $22. But this gives you all the rights to use the music for your podcast, all right? So just understand that. Now let's say there's pieces of dubstep music that I like. What I will want to do is I'll want to come in and pick, like, say, the top 5, and you're going to go in and you're going to search because there's a lot of good music that is found in here. And let's say this one is a good song that we want to check out. What I do is I particularly add to a collection. I create a collection of particular what would you say, like, songs that I want to use. All right, so let's create a new collection. We'll just call this Shannon's Hits. All right, and we'll go ahead and press enter, and if we go down here, there's Shannon's Hits, and then of course that song has been added, and say great, I'm done. Then I'm going to come down, I'm going to look for more songs. Let's say we go to page 6, and we're going to say, oh, this is a great song, and I'm going to add that to my collection, all right? And we're going to see Shannon's Hits, and we're just going to keep adding that. And so we'll keep doing this process over and over and pick the top 5 songs that we want, and then when we're ready to go ahead and see, you know, if they're perfect for our podcast, we can go into our collection. Now, we find our collection over here up on the top right-hand corner. You first have to create an account with Audio Jungle in order to create collections. So make sure that you do that first, all right? I should have mentioned that in the beginning, but just go to your collections, and you're going to see that there are all your collections right now. And so I'm going to come down, and we see Shannon's Hits. We did add 3 items to it, and you can see the songs without getting lost in the library, all right? Now, the beauty behind this is that we can download these songs with the watermark that is already on them. So if I click on this,
Audio Jungle,
you heard that it had the watermark on it. And right here, we can just download the preview. And once we download the preview, we can go ahead and pull it down into our downloads folder and then save it into a folder on our desktop or maybe our computer. And then that will allow us to test it out in our podcast or see if it makes the right fit for our podcast. All right. So that's why I do that. Now, One other thing that I want to share with you is something called logos, all right? And this is a side tip for when I go in and I utilize Audio Jungle. So when I'm looking for my podcast music, what I like to pick are something called opener logos or opening logos. And what opening logos are basically good for branding. Let's say that you are a production house, or maybe you're creating podcasts for multiple clients, or maybe just for yourself, and you have a production house that you are calling like super fantastic podcasts, all right? The best example that I can think of whenever we talk about this is like Netflix. If you've ever watched a Netflix original show, you will hear an opening logo. You'll see it say either Netflix, and then it's got this really cool like sounding opener that you get, and it's like maybe 3 seconds long, and then it just shows the Netflix logo or the N. Now it's the N as of this recording, and those logos are really good to put at the beginning of your podcast. So what you'll want to do is come in and you want to look up opening logos. I use opening logos now for all my podcasts because it's good for branding, to let people know that you are serious about podcasting, all right? So let's go ahead and opening logos. We'll put opening logos. And you can see that there's an opening logo. And here's what an opening logo will sound like. Let's pick one that's pretty short. Like here's one 7 seconds. Let's go ahead and press play.
Audio Jungle.
And right there, I would say something like, for my podcast, I would say like, Shannon Productions or something like that. And then go into the logo or go into the podcast. The reason why I create logos is because when you press play in iTunes, you know how it fades up in iTunes or an Apple Podcast. It will fade up. So I give some time for that, like 3 or 4 seconds, to brand my podcast, then jump into my podcast. So as an example, I have one here that I created for myself. I've created for the radio station, and here's one that I've created right here.
Side Hustle Media.
And then you would go into your podcast. So that's why I find logos. So find logos and create a brand sound or brand opening for your podcast. So it can be like the production house. It could be like, Black Couch Productions or something like that. Anything of that nature, whatever the name of your company is. And then you would introduce the name of your podcast, if that makes any sense. All right. Now, next week, I want to share with you a video on how you can utilize certain logos for music beds. So you don't have to pay a lot of money for using Audio Jungle songs that are $20. Maybe you get something that's a little more affordable, and I will show you how to create and basically manipulate the sound to where it works for you. So that's going to be coming up in the next video, so be ready for that one. If it's not over here on the left-hand side or your right-hand side at the very end of the end screen, you will see it somewhere in the description down below, okay? So I hope this really helps out. Now, if you're a brand new podcaster and you're starting this game for the very first time, make sure that you go ahead and you download my essential equipment guide for podcasting. It's down in the description below that you can go ahead and check out. And of course, that will get you started on your podcasting journey of which equipment that you need to get for your podcast. And of course, if you want to learn how to edit podcasts like a pro, I have a brand new course that is out on my website called Badass Podcasting. It shows you all the steps of how I create podcasts in Adobe Audition. And of course, it is the foundation of how you monetize your podcast. Check the link down in the description below. And of course, check for any coupon codes that may be available to enroll in the training and start podcasting and editing just like a pro. If you like this video, go ahead and leave it a thumbs up, and make sure that you subscribe. Hit the little subscribe button, and that'll notify you whenever I get, of course, a brand new video up on my YouTube. The bell is actually the thing that will notify you whenever I upload a brand new video, but hit that subscribe button either way. It's going to help with the subscriber count and, of course, help get the word out about all these videos to help other podcasters just like you. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching this video. At the end screen, there is a special video maybe for you and your podcasting journey. And again, I guess thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you next time.